Hi, this is Don McAllister and welcome to another ScreenCastsOnline weekly tip video. With new iPads always possible at the beginning of the year, you may be looking to repurpose your older iPad. Now, one great use is to turn it into a digital photo frame, if not for yourself, perhaps for friends or family. You can use any iPad as a digital photo frame. I'm going to use this iPad Pro just for demonstration purposes, as I want to use my Apple Pencil to point a few things out to you. Now, firstly, we need to create a shared photo library, and I'm assuming that you're using Apple Photos. And if we go into Settings and then scroll down till we find Photos. So I'm using iCloud Photo Library. I'm also using iCloud Photo Sharing as well. We're going to use a shared photo album as the source of our digital images. The nice thing about that is that you can always add additional images later. You can also set it up so that other members of the family can contribute photos as well to the photo frame album. So that's switched on. So if I come out of here, if I go into Photos, first thing to do is to create our shared album. So if I go to Shared, and then we'll hit the plus up at the top to create a new shared album. I'm going to call this Photo Frame, and we'll say Next. Now, you don't necessarily need to add people to it at this point. You can add them later. I'm just going to go ahead and say Create. And there is my new photo frame. No photos in as yet, so let's go ahead and add some photos. So hit plus. I've got some photos here from a trip we did in, this is the Vienna Christmas market. So I'm going to go ahead and select that entire day's worth. I can add them individually as well, or I can swipe to select them, and we'll just select these other two as well, and we'll say Done. So now Photos will prepare those photos, and now I can add a comment if I want, but I'm just going to go ahead and say Post. So we now have our images ready for our slideshow. We're going to use the slideshow capabilities of photos to generate the images within our photo frame. But what I first need to do is to go ahead and set up some accessibility settings, because with the photo frame, obviously you don't want people being able to go in and stop the Photos application or sort of move to different applications. So you can set it so that it's just a single app that will run on the iPad. And the way you would do that is to go into Settings, and then we need to go to General, because within General there is Accessibility. And within Accessibility, there is, here we go, Guided Access. We'll switch that on. We can set a passcode if we want. I'm going to use Touch ID. We can also set a passcode as well. Let's just go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's fine. So if we come out of Guided Access, there is time limits as well. We'll leave that by default, and we'll leave the accessibility shortcut off. Basically, when I triple click the home button, that will invoke the guided access setup. So if we come out of here, we'll go back into here. Let's go ahead and set up our slideshow. Now there is music. Let me just tap again. We'll go to Options. We'll switch. Whoops. Let's pause that for now. Go to Options. So I can change the theme, magazine, dissolve. In fact, I'll switch music off for now. We'll say none to that. And I'll switch it on repeat so that the images will cycle over and over. So let's see what that looks like. There we go. Took a little while, but now we've got the images appearing in our slideshow. So let me just pause that again. Now I want to go into guided access mode. So triple click on the home button. Takes us into guided access. Any hardware buttons that we want to switch on or off. So by default, sleep and wake button is disabled. The volume buttons are disabled. Perhaps I want to disable motion and also disable any keyboards if keyboards are attached. Now you circle the areas on the screen you would like to disable. But if I just tap on here, that's the entire screen. And then I also have the option for a time limit as well, but I'm going to leave that off. So I should be able now to treble click to stop and start guided access. So if we go ahead and say Start. Right, guided access is now started, but of course I can't actually start the slideshow. So 1, 2, 3, passcode. Let's go and we'll say End. We'll start the slideshow. Triple click. Right, and that slideshow will now continue until somebody decides to go in and switch it off. But they need to be able to triple click the home button and they need to know the passcode. So now if I tap the screen, nothing happens. I can swipe, nothing happens. I can press the power button, nothing happens. Okay. What you will need to be aware of, though, is that you will need to have this connected to a power source, obviously, otherwise it's going to run out of batteries pretty quickly. But let's just triple click again, enter our passcode, and we're now out of guided access. We'll say end. And if we come out of here, some of the settings you might want to check on, auto lock, you might want to switch off. So if we come back out to general, we want display and brightness. Yep, auto lock I have set to never, because you don't want it to auto lock if it's going to display your images. And basically that's it set up. The only other thing you might need to consider, if we go into here, if we say done to our slideshow, if we want to add people to our slideshow so that people can access this shared album, we can do it from here. So we can invite people, we can allow subscribers to post. So anybody who's been invited to the shared album, if they submit photos to the shared album, they will then appear within the photo frame. And basically that is it. So a nice easy way to set up an iPad as a digital photo frame. If you want to learn more about using your Apple devices, there are over 700 full video tutorials available to Screencast Online members, covering all aspects of the Mac, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, and even the Apple TV. Now, all full members receive a new Apple-related video tutorial each and every week, as well as a free subscription to the Screencast Online monthly magazine, packed with videos and articles on getting the most out of your Apple devices. Now, you can get your free 14-day trial membership over at ScreenCastsOnline.com, or check out some of the free content over on the SCO Showcase app on the iPad, iPhone, and Apple TV. That's it for this week. I'll be back next week with another tip, so I'll speak to you then.